All right, here we go. First of all, let me introduce myself. My name is Dr. Christopher Allen. My business is Jabbo Group, and you can reach us at jabbogroup.org. Um, Give a little background of why I'm doing this. I am a marketing professor at FIU. I have a doctorate degree in business administration from the University of Maryland. I got my undergrad from Alabama A&M. Shouts out to A&M. Shouts out to HBCUs in the house. I got a master's degree with Nova Southeastern with specialization in marketing. So what led me to this venture is, as a professor and a marketing professor, I've always had students come to me and say, yo, professor, yo, you are off the freaking chain. And just teaching marketing concepts, along the way, from the four P's, which is something we're going to talk about, in a few, to just, being in a relationship. I could admit I'm single, and as my journey within life, has led me up to this point. So, one day I was sitting there, and I kind of just, thought about putting two and two together. It's like, well, wait a minute, whoa. I'm a single guy. I teach marketing. Why don't I fuse the two together? Why don't I fuse the two? In FIU, we actually have a class called Marketing Yourself, but it's basically from a marketing stuff from a career standpoint. So one day I thought about it, and actually someone mentioned Kevin Samuels, and I seen this video, and he had some things that I agreed with in his video in terms of relationships, modern men versus modern women, but one of the things that he had that really stuck out with me, and this is on my website, is that he said that the US male population median income, actually, let me even go back further than that. One of the things that really stuck out before I even get into the income was he said 51% of single males have no kids, and 64% of those single males reside in the middle class. That kind of struck a nerve with me, and I was just like, whoa, I'm part of that 51% because I'm a single guy and I don't have kids. And then I dug a little deeper, and I actually watched a couple of his videos, and he actually went on to say that the US male population median income is $38,461 as of 2019, and the female population median income was 25,307 as of 2019. So my thing was this, and I kind of just looked at the numbers, and I went to the US Census Bureau, and that's something I'm gonna bring up or something I'm gonna highlight too within my class. And so that is what got the wheels to spinning. And I sat back and I said, well, I wonder how many people actually know how to look at themselves through a marketing lens. And as I was creating this and I was creating this business venture, I thought about, everyone has a certain perception of themselves, certain perceptions of, society, certain perceptions of men, certain perceptions of women, certain perceptions of middle class, upper class, lower class. And so I created the title called Perception Analysis. Yeah, I made that shit up. Because I didn't want to see relationship coach, life coach. I don't think that I would be I'm a great coach because I'm a pretty damn good professor, but I want to take the avenue of perception analysis to analyze what your perceptions are. And then when you look at it from that standpoint, is how do you get to that perception? Because perception is your version of what reality is. So this venture that I'm going down is basically kind of leading on perception. And like I said, I'm gonna reference this guy, Kevin Samuels, because as I was watching this video, one of the things that I saw within his video was more, he's telling someone, who are you? What you are? This is what your expectations are. And my approach is more or less from a professor standpoint to understand relationship ideologies versus, and adding marketing concepts. Because if you look at yourself as, the 4 Ps, which is product, price, promotion, and place, and looping back to the class that we have at FIU, and I'm sat back and said, you know what? I wonder how many people can understand themselves as a product. So I decided to, create this, infuse 2 worlds together, and hopefully, this becomes a successful venture where, people can actually, write to me and text me, what their perceptions are. And from there, we can break down and analyze why, how, what's the outcome, what led you up to this point to where you are and how you perceive this, what is your perspective on that and what got you down that lane. And along the way, and it's funny because, as I teach my class, I also implement a lot of stories, which kind of actually leads to me as a product, and one of the things that I'm gonna come back to, I'm gonna drift off to a story, but then I'm gonna bring it back to a marketing concept, and that's one of the things that my students love about me, is that because I can tie in a story or a story about my life, and then I can loop it back around to where it makes sense within a marketing concept. And they be like, damn. And I'm that professor that curse, I'd be like, man, y'all, let's get this shit going, and whatever the case may be. And since this is my video, and since this is my website, I'm gonna do whatever the F I want. No, I'm just playing. So I always start my class with a statement that I say, marketing is the beast that controls the world. My students look at me and I tell them again, I said, marketing is the beast that controls the world. And they look back at me and they go, well, why do you say that? So I often start off with, a couple of examples. Those examples basically can come from, I say, well, we pay for something that we can get for free. And so my students, they go, what, and I've had students kind of, debate me on this back and forth. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, it is something that we can get for free, but we pay for it. And it's as crazy as it may sound, it's very in front of you. And one of the things I'm gonna sit back and say, I always say, well, what can we pay for that we get for free? They go, just think about it. What do we pay for that we can get for free? They go, they look around, and I go, some people have it on their desk, and I go, and they're looking, they go, water? And I go, yeah. I say, what is free? I said, and they go, well, professor, technically, water really isn't free. And from FIU, I said, well, all right, well, do me a favor. I said, take 826. I said, you go all the way down. So you keep going to South Beach, you cross over a couple of streets, and I say, you go through some brown stuff, to get in your toes, it may mess up your outfit. And I said, but you keep going out there, and I said, you can run into some liquid. They said, but you don't drink that. I said, bullshit. I said, when y'all be out there swimming and y'all be drinking that. I said, now, however, y'all do not consume that. I said, but y'all be out there drinking. So I also said to them, I said, well, wait a minute, whoa. And I point around in the classroom, and I go, I say, some students may have Zephyr Hills on their desk. Some students may have Dasani, Polar Springs. And I asked the question, why? Why did you buy that water? Convenient. That's the one I get the most convenient. It tastes good. I said, okay. I said, what price did you pay for that water? 175, 225. And I said, so you mean to tell me the product is water? I said, the price is 225, 175, depending upon the vending machine. I said, Dasani is different than Polar Springs. And I said, however, Fiji water is the Mercedes-Benz of water because it's delicious and nutritious. So that's the promotion. And I said, the place is either at a vending machine, more likely, or whatever cafe you walk into, your refrigerator. So I said, it's readily available. I said, that was 4 P's right there. And I said, I use they, and I say, they came up with a price for something that we can get for free. Then my students look back at me and they go, well, wait a minute, professor, no, you can't get water for free. I said, we're sitting in class, right? So I said, bullshit. I said, I bet you I can walk right out this door right here. And there is a thing that I can push a button and some liquid, clear liquid will come out. And if I take these big, brown, beautiful lips and I go like this, and I said, last time I checked, that was water and it was free. I said, however, now, I'm not saying that it's not disgusting. He's like, well, professor, how do we know that's safe? How do you know it's not safe? So then I get into those type of concepts in terms of marketing, and another one that I go into is, and I'm pulling it up now. I asked my students, I said, have they heard of these particular brands? And the first one I pull up is, have you guys ever heard of this old brand or, this brand called Gucci? My students look at me and they go, yeah, we heard of Gucci. I said, okay, all right. I said, okay. I said, we getting somewhere. I said, and I go to the next one. I said, have you guys ever heard of this other brand called Louis Vuitton? They all raised their hand. I normally average about 50 students in my class. So then I said, okay. So then I go around the room. So once I go around the room, I ask my students the question. I say, how many of you guys, I said, first, the next question becomes, everyone in this room give me a one-word association with both brands. So I go around the room. Overrated, luxury, high value, high price, high society, expensive. I get all of these one-word answers to describe those two brands. Next question becomes, how many of you guys actually own the brand? So out of 50 students, I would say less than 10%. So then I dropped this little tidbit on them. So I said, okay, let me make sure I got this straight. So let me make sure I got this straight right now. I say, you guys heard of Gucci. You heard of Louis Vuitton. You actually gave me a one-word association for both brands. And less than 10% of you guys actually own the brand. And the students that actually raised their hand that they own it, I said, what y'all got? I got some glasses. I got a wallet. I got a belt. I said, nobody in here got one of them Gucci bags? I said, because if y'all got a Gucci bag or a Louis Vuitton bag, I'm gonna rob the shit out of y'all in the parking lot. And they all start cracking up, right? So I say, so less than 10% of you guys actually own the brand. I said, now let me drop a number on you. I said, Gucci was founded 1921. Louis Vuitton was founded 1854. And I said, we are in, and I think the last time I had a class before COVID hit was in 2020. And I said, I am standing with you mother lovers in a class in 2020, and everyone in this room has given me a one-word association with a brand that they don't even own that was founded in 1854 and 1921. How in the mother-loving F is that even possible? I lean back on the ass. I'll wait. You know, you always get the one, marketing. I said, okay, it's marketing. Yes, it is. However, what else? Mind you, 1854. Ain't none of us been alive. 1921. I said, ain't no person in this room right here was alive, even thought about. And we can make a one-word association with a brand that none of us own. And it's 2020. I said, so now let's dig deeper than that. And that's how I basically start my class. You know, I start my class from that marketing standpoint. And I always say marketing is the beast that controls the world. So what I want to do, and what I'm, doing with this is I want to fuse marketing you to the world. How can you market yourself? Especially for those that like myself that are single and that, are trying to get in relationships. And I can even flip it even more to say, how about those that, want even personal development to grab to gain a deeper understanding of themselves and how the world is. Because it's funny, as I talk to my students in my marketing class, I always tell them I'm like Morpheus. I said, by the time we finish, and if I'm not mistaken, which pill was it, the blue pill or the red pill, when he gave Neo, and all of a sudden Neo was able to see the world for what it was. I said, that's how I treat my class, and that's how I want my class to see the world. Is I want you to strip out all the bullshit and see who they're marketing to. So I want to do that, but I also want to look at it from an inner perspective, and that's why I loop back around to a perspective analysis, because I think with all of us, we all have a certain perception, I'm sorry, not even perception. I don't want to get in perception. We have a certain perspective of what we see and how we see certain things, which leads us to our actions. So I actually created a syllabus. I'm gonna put the syllabus on my website. Marketing yourself 101. Okay, yeah, I took this shit from FIU, but it don't say nothing with FIU. And y'all ain't gonna tell nobody anyway. So it is what it is. I got the course description up there. And I also got the course learning outcomes. And I want to treat this as a course because I have a lot of feeling. And every time I tell someone, okay, well, I'm a marketing guy, everybody says, "Oh, we need to talk." And I've helped out, through my small business. If you go to jabbogroup.org, I've helped out a lot of small businesses, create marketing plans. I've helped out a lot of small business create ideas and have a starting point. And I've met with businesses that I've had and actually taken their concepts and actually introduced them into my classroom settings. And we've used them as projects in order to grow their companies. So I am very familiar with marketing. So if anybody want to test my gangster, holla at a brother. And if I'm not mistaken, you can see the degrees on the background. Holla at a brother. All right, I'm just playing. So as I would, and I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to post the syllabus. But one of the things and how I'm breaking this down is into modules. I have at least 9 modules that I am breaking down, and each module is a representation of you and how you're going to market yourself. Looking at yourself through a perspective that's real, and before I end this Zoom meeting, I'm going to kind of lay down the groundworks of what I'm looking for and how, looping back around, I'm gonna add my story in there, because once again, how I got to this point is very interesting, and every point that every bridge that I've crossed and every street that I've walked and every bed I've laid my head in, I can actually attribute, the 4 Ps to that situation. Um, and it's funny because as I sit here and I'm thinking now, and like I said, once again, man of many stories, students have asked me, because the first question, which is the homework question that I'm going to list and I'm giving you guys, and you can give me feedback, because on my website, there is my email, my phone number, and I guess, you can leave a message. So my first homework question to most or to all would be, if you can view yourself as a tangible product. Now, in the marketing world, products consist of a tangible product or item or service. I kind of want to stay away from the service because it is an intangible. I kind of want to go back to, and I want to start, at a physical, tangible item that you can actually associate yourself with. Now, here's the deal. Once again, this shit is crazy because I had to look back, and my students always ask me, okay, professor, you given this assignment, then what the hell are you, and who are you, or how do you equate yourself as a product? So I always look at them and I start laughing. I say, y'all don't even understand. I said, my greatest gift is my greatest curse. I said, I've been blessed to have a great memory. I said, my memory, and I have the ability to remember everything throughout the whole course of my life and my journey. I've had the ability to remember everything down to the detail, to which way the wind was blowing, the smell, the cologne, the dog, the cat, the squirrel that ran through, the gecko that fell off the roof, So I have the ability and a gift and a curse, because I do remember everything. Also, I remember every damn thing. I don't have one of them select memory type shit. So if I get caught lying and shit, they be like, yo, you should remember that because you remember Mother Lover. And I'd be like, oh yeah, you're right. You caught me. Yeah, I can't even lie. I got it. So when they ask me that, and I tell them, I say, no, I have that ability to remember everything. And the trade-off is, I remember faces, but I don't remember name for shit, And I get into a story with that later. But I'm gonna actually start with what kind of product would I associate myself looking at that perspective of remembering everything. USB, a memory device. And it's funny because I am going to take it back, because I told my students before, I will associate myself with a floppy disk. Floppy disk, yeah, Commodore 64s, holla at a brother. Hey, my generation, Generation X's, Commodore 64, Atari, like 1000, had the big ass floppy disk, and you stick it in there, and then you pull up DOS. See the shit I'm saying? I remember that shit. And the Commodore 64 was brown, and then you slide it in there, and you pull up a DOS, and you try to see something, and whatever the case may be. Yeah, because during the course of my life, I understand that I can remember everything, childhood, all the way up to where I am now. And so one thing about a memory device, how has it evolved over time? Because I'm gonna take the same principles of a product and look at it how it evolves over time. So if I'm a memory device, floppy disk, 80s, Gary, Indiana native right here. How has that evolved over time? Floppy disk, CD write, USB, now a cloud service. And don't get me wrong, I probably forgot some shit in between, but through the course of time, memory devices have evolved. Therefore, me as a person should have evolved. And then when you start adding in the 4 Ps, the other 3 Ps into it, so then if my product is a memory device, then what price would I be? What price did I start out with what price am I in now? Then what is my attributes? Because I can go from a megabyte to a gigabyte to a terabyte to a jalilibyte. You know, I just made that shit up. But y'all get what the hell I'm saying. Now with cloud service, you can download every goddamn thing on there, you know, and you know, you got Apple and Samsung, whoever the case may be. How am I promoting myself? Because in today's era, or in today's society, I'll be obsolete if I stay at a floppy disk. Won't nobody holler at me. That's like being that 50-year-old pimp in the club. Or matter of fact, y'all seen I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. And I know mother lovers on this dang video have seen I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, where my man came out of jail. He had the fish tank pumps and he was walking through and he had the big ass hat on and he thought he was the man. Yes, that's floppy disk in 2021. So that's what I'm talking about in terms of being able to remember everything and looping it back to an actual product. So and I say that to you guys because that is how I want to facilitate this learning environment in terms of relationships, personal development, how you view life, and what your perspective is in certain situations. And it's crazy because as I sit back and think about floppy disk, and I think about all the way back, you know, I attribute a lot of my singleness to the journey that I had, you know, and I give you guys a little, you know, and like I said, as I go through these videos, I will sit back and tell you know how this journey is, because I kind of feel like, and I'm gonna keep it 100, that I am now the new old school. You know, it's three people that I reference in my life that I would, and also too, in this journey, in these videos, I don't never name names, but it's only three names that I would ever reference: my mom, my dad, and my stepfather. You know, those were the big three in my life. And you know, before, you know, when they passed, you know, I had between them, you know, 90-something years of experience. And I was the type of kid, you know, that listened. You know, when my mom spoke, you know, and she talked, and my dad, my stepfather talked, you know, and I was never raised with my father, but I wound up linking up with my father as I got older and understood, in which I'm going to talk about that too, along with this one, because I also have topics in this that would, you know, sit back and talk about listen to the mistakes that your parents made in order to keep you from making those mistakes, you know. And so, you know, I go back to, you know, where I'm from. You know, I'm originally from Gary, Indiana, born and raised, 970 Clark Road, you know, and, you know, my elementary school, you know, Washington, you know, I take it back to Washington, Ivanhoe, you know, Emerson, you know, and yes, all my people that will get this link, that's from Gary, Indiana. That's right, Gary is in the house. And it's funny because as I sit there and I think about it, you know, and I look at a perspective, and I'm gonna kind of jump back and forth between history and now, you know, during the course of my journey, I always realize, and I always forget that I'm a Midwestern dude. But when you are, you know, chasing that journey, you know, and one of the things I will say, you know, is how I got to this point was, you know, in I think my senior year in high school, and you know, my dog's in the back, he wants some attention. Oh, and I got my dog, his name is Cicero. So yeah, for those that don't know, because my people in my family know who Cicero is, you know, for those that don't know, that when this video extends out, you know, as a single person, a lot of single people I know, you know, they got cats and they got dogs, they got a fish, they got a squirrel, they got an iguana, they got a snake, which I dated a chick that had a snake, and that shit was not fun. Yeah, dating somebody with a snake, just, whew. So here we go. You know, I remember, and actually I'm bringing it back to a product because I'm a Midwestern dude, you know, and I hold Midwestern values, but during the course of my journey, you know, I went to school in Alabama. You know, first I went to school in Knoxville, Tennessee. And I tell you a funny story because it's crazy. Coming from Gary, Indiana, being a Midwestern dude and going to Knoxville College for like my first semester, you get kind of a culture shock. And I use that as place because once again, leaving Gary, Midwest, headed to Knoxville College, I got there and was one of the craziest shits that ever happened to me was my boy was like, we were standing there and this dude came up to us. His name was, I'm gonna say, his nickname was Black. Black dude goes on across the front of the grill, drove a white Jetta, and the first thing he walks up to us and he says to me, "What up, my nigga?" Got the blink in, I got the, whew. And so my boy turns to me, right, who had been there for a semester. He had turned to me and said, "Hey, dog, that's how they talk down here." I said, "What? That's how they talk? They just said this like that?" And yeah, man. Because we're coming from the Midwest, in the 90s, we didn't use, we didn't throw out, nigga like that. What up, dog? What up, playboy? It was never to that, to us, that was derogatory. So when the culture shock of leaving Indiana and going down to Tennessee and hearing that, it was just like, damn, dog, you ain't in Kansas anymore. You need to click your heels twice, take your ass back to Indiana. But once again, part of the journey. And it's crazy. And I'm gonna take it back to a moment in time of what started the journey. And I can honestly say, just being blessed, I was sitting on the bricks of my home at 970 Clark Road. And right before graduation, I looked up to the sky and I said, something like this, I looked up to the heavens and I looked up to God and I said, "Hey, God, wherever you lead me, I will follow, no questions asked." And because I knew that in my heart of hearts and world of worlds, that I was bigger than what I was doing. And at the time, I was working, and I always tell my students this. I said, as a kid, coming out of high school, or within high school, I said, I had the greatest job anyone in high school could ever have. My students be like, "Working at the movies? Hell no. Working at the car wash? Hell no." I said, my first job while I was in high school, I had a job at Foot Locker. Yeah, y'all, I had a job at Mother Loving Foot Locker. And for those that know me, and I'm gonna get into this as we continue on this journey, how Foot Locker changed the game, how Foot Locker changed my life, and also too, and I didn't even lie to y'all, had I known that the sneaker revolution was gonna be, or the sneaker revolution was gonna be what it was, I would jump my black ass in a DeLorean and I would say, "Yo, Chris, buy one, keep one, sport one." Because being from there, I was there when Jordan had the nappy hair and the gold chain and those first Jordans. And here's a fun fact that a lot of people don't know. The first Jordan was $64. I had a pair. The first pair of Jordans was $64. And I remember my mom said, "You come up with 40, I pay the rest." So to see what Jordans are on eBay up in the thousands, it's like, shit. And I tell my students all the time, I said, had my ass known that these goddamn shoes will be that much, my black ass would have bought one to store and sport one. Because when I worked for Foot Locker, and all my people, shouts out to Foot Locker that would know what I'm gonna say, from my tenure in Foot Locker, I never paid for a pair of sneakers. For those that work in Foot Locker, y'all know why. So here we go. So I have all of these stories, these intricate stories that I always loop back to, to the marketing concepts. And as I'm getting into this, and as we're going to get into this, like I said, my videos first will be asynchronous. And that's because I want to, let everybody, get an understanding. Once again, this is marketing, understanding who I am and what am I trying to do. And then from there, we're going to get synchronous. Because actually I am using Zoom, and this way I will get a chance to have people on and get a chance to talk. One of the things I'm going to do is share my screen real quick. And in sharing my screen, I am going to break down what we're going to talk about. Because right now we're at the product level. And at the product level, I want everyone who watches this video and want to take this journey with me. to view themselves, strip out all the bullshit. Let's keep it 100. Strip out all the bullshit. You know, I had a friend of mine, when I first started talking about this, I said, if you can associate yourself with a product, I'm a little red Corvette. I said, yeah, heifer, with a damn Bobo engine. So she's like, oh my God, you ain't gonna say that. So strip out all the bullshit. What can you really associate yourself with that has been with you in totality? You know, not when you got them things put in, or when you got them lips pluckered up, and all of a sudden you think you the biggest lips on the planet, or you got them things put in the front, you Dolly Parton. No, I'm talking about what are you, or what can you associate yourself with that's been with you for your whole life? I had a lady say to me, I'm a nurturer. Okay, all right, cool. How you a nurturer? She was just like, well, I have my kids, and, I nurture them. I said, okay, all right, let's go there. I said, so if you're a nurturer, then what kind of nurturer would you be? What kind of product would you associate yourself with? And she got stumped. And I said, okay, let me help you a little bit. I said, if you were a nurturer, could you be a bottle? I said, because bottle is nurturing. And I said, you fill it up with the information, the nutrition and everything else, and you actually are bestowing that within the child to make the child healthy. I said, therefore, you are nurturing. So I said, could you be a bottle? She was like, oh my God, yes. I said, now let's break it down even more. I said, what type of bottle would you be? What kind of ounces would you be? So those are the type of questions that I had to ask, and that I'm asking of you guys. What would you be? What kind of product would you be if you took that one word association and linked yourself with a product? Guys as well, oh man, I could be a truck. Okay, what kind of truck could you be? Are you a four-wheeler? Are you a pickup truck? Are you a dump truck? Are you an Optimus Prime? It's just, what are you, and what tangible product are you? Because as we go through this, we're going to talk about the price. Price is your income, price is your lifestyle, how you going to promote yourself, based upon these, this class. Hopefully you would learn how to promote yourself a little different, or even look at yourself a little different than you did when you first started. The place, and I can sit back and talk about the place real quick, just within my journey alone. And I've always thought about this. I'm a Midwestern dude and I live in Miami. Still got Midwestern core values. It's who I am. It's born and raised. It's woven within inside me. But I've laid my head, in Alabama. I've dated in New York. New York women are totally different than Gary women, which is totally different which is kind of even with Chicago women, because that Midwestern factor. But Alabama women is totally different than Indiana women, which is totally different than Atlanta women, which is totally different than women in North Carolina, which is different between women that live in Brooklyn, women that live in Jersey, women that live in Virginia, women that live in Miami. And I just kind of sat back and, and don't get me wrong, y'all, it's the stories that I have that I can share, from a single guy's perspective, and I actually said this on Facebook. I said, I'm gonna write a book on the chronicles of a black single male, or black male single, or some shit that I said. This is it. Because I would deem myself, and I take it back to what Kevin Samuel said, I am in that 51% of single black men that don't have any kids. And people always say, and don't get me wrong, I've had women say to me, well, maybe you the problem, nigga. And I sat back and said, in certain situations, maybe I was. Because I've been in various places. I've been in various situations. So as I sit here now, and that's why I'm kind of coming at you real world, bare bones, to understand that, hey, this is where I am. This is what I'm doing. And there are a lot of men out there that are like me, that range from their 40s, that range from their 30s. And I'm gonna pull up a data set that I actually found from the U.S. Census Bureau, because I'm the type of guy, if you're gonna test my gangster, because there are a lot of mother lovers on social media that will say, well, you know what, this mother excuse my language, this mother lover is talking mad crap. But my thing is, like I tell my students, check the source. You want to test someone gangster? Check their source, check their reference, check and see who in the F you dealing with, because an old wise woman told me, know your audience. So when people sit back and say, and once again, when I saw, Kevin Samuel's situation or his YouTube, I went on the US Census Bureau, and I'm gonna share my screen, and I'm gonna show you who my target market is. I am looking at, where is my Zoom buddy? Oh, here we go live. My target market will consist of, share my screen. Where's my screen? Let me share my screen, y'all. Here we go. Screen 3. Here is what I am looking for in terms of my target market. The 18 to 64 males, 12,380,000. Women, 14,269,000. If I scroll over to the incomes or the household incomes, if I start at, what Kevin said, 38,000 is the median income in 2019. So if I just say, 40,000, 577,000. For men, 643,000. And it's crazy because even if you look at the income, and this was in 2007, women making more than a man, women making more than a man, woman 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 makes more than a man, woman makes more than a man, blah, 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 so on and so forth. So, and I'm also looking at my data set number 3, which is, and let me stop sharing my screen on this one and share my screen for this one, data set number, what's data set? This one, this is data set number 3. This data set here, which will be educational attainment. Some with less than 4-year college, my 2-year associate's degree people. 5,694,000. Now, mind you, this is just black people. I'm not looking at the whole world. I'm looking at my colored folk, us darkies. I don't never say that in class. I'm just saying that because this is my shit. And students with, people with bachelor's degrees, And if y'all think I'm lying, I'm flying. Look at this number, 4,198,000. versus 2,963,000 with people with bachelor's degrees and higher. So if you're telling me that this guy, let me stop sharing my screen so y'all can get the full money of me. So if you're telling me this guy that has a freaking doctorate, and there are more women, because I know it to be the case, there are more women that are educated than my black brothers. So we really are in rare air. We are really in that world of rare air when you're talking about educational attainment. So I feel like I'm talking a bit too much because I want to save some shit for the next Zoom meeting. But like I said, I hope you guys, I hope I piqued your interest. I hope that you guys, go to my website, jabbogroup.org. Hit me up on my email, Jabbo, Jabbo 970 @gmail.com. And check this out. And this is the crazy shit. Everything that I have been a part of, and maybe this is because, like I said, when I left the nest, and I got to tell y'all a story about when I was watching the National Geographic channel. Fuck it, I'm gonna tell y'all the story now. All right, you know what I'm saying? F it, I'm gonna tell you the story right now. So here we go. This is how I am here to this hour. I was watching the National Geographic channel. I had just come from playing basketball at LA Fitness, and I had just gotten my master's degree. And I was living in Lauderdale by the sea. And you know how they ain't shit on TV to watch, especially on a Saturday. and you know, you just kind of like flipping channels. So check game, y'all. I was watching a National Geographic channel, and they had the episode of a crocodile. So, you know, they had a little crocodile. They was watching the crocodile. Mama gave birth, and they had little hatchlings come out and all the other shit, right? So, that, you know, she pick them up, scoop them, take them to a place that was safe and place that was higher. So I'm sitting there watching it, you know, and just, you know, I don't know, God knows what I was doing. We just sitting there watching it and eating. Then they start showing the crocodiles as they were getting bigger. Mom was moving them from one area to the other. How they were eating, how they were hunting. And as the mom was leading the babies, she started to go right. And I think it was like 6 or 7 hatchlings behind her of crocodiles. And it was the last one. I'm sorry, it was the first one. He slowed down. He was in the middle of the pack. And when she was going right, he stopped. And they showed, you know, the crocodile and the mom and the other hatchlings drifting off to the right. This little crocodile stayed there and he looked left. And then he started to proceed to walk left. And I knew it was real because it caught, you know, I don't know if it was Jabbo stole and the other guy, it wasn't the other guy, you know, but it was, you know, the narrator, it kind of caught him off guard because he was just like, you know, this particular hatchling is either lost or, you know, something, because he thought the hatchling was lost. That hatchling started to walk left. And once he started to walk left, they scrapped watching the other crocs and started following him. And once again, you know, I'm not a producer of the Discovery Channel, but in my world, this shit made sense. They showed him as he had within the desert. In order to stay moist, he had to bury himself in the sand because of the dry season. And when it was the rainy season, he had to find higher ground. He also too had to learn how to defend himself based upon, you know, the snakes, the other great gators and crocodiles that were out there, and his other enemies. So he had to learn how to defend himself. He had to learn how to blend in. You know, he had to learn how to use his teeth to eat and to feed. And as I was watching this, you know, I went from leaning back like this to and for that, I guess half an hour episode, an hour episode of watching this crocodile, and they showed him as he was getting bigger and getting stronger. And one of the last image that they showed of him as he was walking, they showed him walking down the path of the jungle. And now he's pretty nice size now. And they just showed him just continue to walk. And y'all don't even understand. I'm sitting there and I'm like this. I'm like, man, you know, I'm crying and stuff. Oh Lord, help me, no, man, that crocodile is me. Oh Lord, the crocodile is me. Because I've been on this journey, and the thing is every skill that crocodile that was born within him, he used to get to that size. And guess what? He still kept walking. And that's one of the things that I have held on to. And this is probably, you know, once again, you know, you look within yourself. You sit back and say, well, you know, what's my purpose, or why am I here? What am I doing? You know, and I tell my students that story all the time, you know, and I said, you know, the last thing in that image, once again, coming back to what I am as a product, which is a freaking memory device, I can see it like yesterday. Him just walking down the path as a small hatchling, and he just now tails hanging, just wagging, and he still was walking. So I leave y'all with that story because, you know, you have to have a clear or just a real insight to who you are. You know, and a lot of things that I'm seeing in the dating world, you know, especially, you know, being on, you know, different dating sites and just meeting, you know, ladies, you know, my personal observation, or I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. My perspective is, you know, they are not finding themselves. And even some of the dudes, some of my boys, and some cats I even talk to at the cigar bar, you know, they don't have a clear understanding of who they are now. You know, and I hear a lot. Men don't know what they want. Women don't either. So you have a lot of people because you don't know who you are. How do you know what you are when you don't know what you want? And then you've changed and evolved with the circumstances around you, but who is the core person within inside you? You know, and that was funny. I was on the golf course yesterday talking to a friend of mine, and I will share this with you guys. I said, you know, before I share my bed, I said I share my bed by myself, and I said I wake up pretty happy. I said, but before I share my bed, I said I would rather lay here alone than have someone lay next to me and be miserable. You know, and that's real. You know, so. All right, party people. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope y'all get in where you fit in. Like I said, I sent out another notification. Like I said, guys, please hit me up. I'm gonna send this on my YouTube page, Jabbo Group. The website is jabbogroup.org. The email is doctor period Jabbo 970 at gmail.com. Shout out to all those that, you know, that friends and family that checking the brother out, you know, all those that are new. I hope we can, you know, cruise down this. And like I said, let me give y'all I'm gonna loop back around. In this class, let me do this real quick, just so y'all don't think I'm on it and I'm full of crap, that how real I am. Here's the syllabus. That's right, here's the syllabus. And the topics that we're going to discuss, which we're now talking about the syllabus, the intro to marketing and expectations. We're going to talk about you guys as a product, the price, the promotion, the place. Another thing that we're going to get into, we're going to do a SWOT analysis. Look at yourself as a SWOT analysis. What are your strengths? What is your weakness? What is your opportunity? What are your threats? And module 9 is, where would you be in the product life cycle? The product life cycle consists of introductory, growth, maturity, and decline. So I want to have some real perspectives on those situations as we get into that, because these 9 modules, by the time we finish, I hope that some people have that, and I tell my students all the time, I hope you've learned something within the 8 or 16 weeks of my class, you know, and I want to get into the same thing with this particular venture. So I hope you enjoy this. You know, I hope that you guys are, you know, intrigued and excited. You know, that's all I got. Good luck, Godspeed, and I see y'all when I see you. Peace.